The Book of Lamentations is a collection of poetic laments for the destruction of Jerusalem and the resulting suffering of its people. The Book of Lamentations is traditionally attributed to the prophet Jeremiah, who witnessed the fall of Jerusalem to the Babylonians in 586 BC. The city was besieged, and its inhabitants experienced starvation, death, and were eventually taken into exile. In this political, social, and religious crisis, the author reflects on the great suffering of his people, but also on the faithfulness and steadfast love of God. Lamentations chapter 3 verse 24 is a verse that encapsulates the essence of faith and hope in the midst of suffering. It is a powerful declaration of trust in God, even in the darkest of times. Lamentations chapter 3 verse 24 states, "The Lord is my portion, says my soul, therefore I will hope in him." In the original Hebrew text, portion translates to chelik, which can mean a part, share, or inheritance. This term is significant as it emphasizes that God is not just a provider of a part, but is himself the all-encompassing inheritance. The term portion has rich roots in the Old Testament, reflecting the inheritance of the tribes of Israel. When the Israelites entered the Promised Land, each tribe received a specific portion of land as delineated in the books of Numbers and Joshua. However, the Levites who served as priests received no land, but were assured that the Lord himself would be their portion. Deuteronomy chapter 10 verse 9. This deepens the understanding of God's role as the promised inheritance. Acknowledging the Lord as one's portion signifies dependence on him for sustenance and fulfillment. Jeremiah finds his identity and satisfaction not in material possessions, relationships, or the restored city, but in God himself. This perspective invites believers to find ultimate satisfaction in their relationship with the Creator, rather than fleeting worldly pleasures. When Jeremiah declares, "The Lord is my portion," he affirms the abiding presence of God in his life. Instead of focusing on what is lost, Jerusalem, the temple, and the land, he focuses on what remains, God himself. Faith during suffering involves recognizing God as enough, even when earthly possessions and circumstances fail. God is not distant, but intimately involved. This relationship provides comfort, strength, and the assurance of God's love. Symbolically, the declaration that "the Lord is my portion" can be seen as a rejection of reliance on worldly things. Instead of seeking fulfillment in material possessions or circumstances, the author recognizes that true satisfaction and contentment can only be found in the Lord. This is a powerful symbol of faith and trust, as well as a reminder that our ultimate source of hope and security should be in the Lord alone. Just as Jeremiah affirms God as his portion, believers today are encouraged to seek fulfillment in their relationship with God. In a world obsessed with material wealth and earthly success, this verse challenges believers to reevaluate their sources of identity and satisfaction. We can learn from Jeremiah that hope is actively cultivated rather than passively awaited. This calls for intentional practices such as prayer, scripture reading, meditation, and participation in community worship. Allowing oneself to remember God's past faithfulness can invigorate hope amid current difficulties. The verse also invites us to express our struggles and sorrows to God honestly. Lamenting is an essential part of the faith journey, providing space for healing and authenticity. By voicing grief and pain, believers can more fully appreciate the hope and joy that God provides. The phrase, "says my soul" in Hebrew, it uses the word amar, denoting a declaration or assertion, showing the deep personal conviction of this truth. It is not just an intellectual or academic belief, but a proclamation that comes from the very depths of his being. This implies a profound level of trust and reliance on the Lord as the source of hope and strength. This verse invites believers to cultivate a personal relationship with God, engaging in lament and expressing grief, while simultaneously choosing to embrace hope. It serves as a profound reminder that in the midst of trials, God is present as our portion, sustaining and upholding us with His unwavering love and mercy. The last part of the verse, "Therefore I will hope in Him," is a conclusion flows naturally from the affirmation that the Lord is the speaker's portion. Despite the surrounding circumstances of destruction and despair, the prophet Jeremiah finds hope in God. This hope is not based on current visible circumstances, but on the unwavering character and faithfulness of God. It is a resolute trust that God will ultimately bring restoration and deliverance. The hope expressed in this verse is grounded in the unchanging character of God. It is anchored on His faithfulness, mercy, and compassion, as earlier verses in the chapter affirm. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Lamentations chapter 3 verses 22 and 23 ESV. Hope is a powerful force that can sustain us through the most difficult times. It is the anchor of the soul, keeping us steady in the midst of life's storms. When we fix our eyes on God, the source of all hope, we can overcome any challenge. This assurance of God's unwavering love and faithfulness provides the foundation for the ultimate source of joy, strength, sustenance, and hope. In conclusion, in today's world, where many face various forms of suffering and uncertainty, be it personal struggles, natural disasters, or societal upheavals, Lamentations chapter 3 verse 24 offers timeless wisdom and comfort. It calls individual believers to look beyond the transient nature of earthly circumstances and place their hope in the eternal and unchanging God. The verse encourages resilience and endurance in the face of trials. In a culture often focused on materialism and temporary satisfaction, this verse redirects attention to spiritual priorities. It calls believers to seek God first and foremost, finding in Him the ultimate source of contentment and hope. As Christians are called to be conduits of hope. The message of Lamentations chapter 3 verse 24 inspire believers to offer encouragement and support to those who are suffering, reflecting the love and compassion of Christ. Personal testimony of God's faithfulness can be a beacon of hope to others experiencing darkness. Thanks for joining me today on this journey into biblical wisdom. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful discussions about faith, hope, and love. Until next time, may God bless us all.